Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the notes on dividing polynomials. At the end of this, you should be able to say I can divide polynomials using long division, and I can explain the relation between divided polynomials. Okay, so first things first. What we're doing with the dividing polynomials is really closely related to arithmetic long division, we call it. So remember, if you have 175 divided by 12, we put 12 on the outside and 175 on the inside. The 12 on the outside is called the divisor. That's what we're dividing by. 175 is the dividend. That's what's being divided. The quotient is the solution, the answer to this, and then our 7 over here is the remainder. So just to remind you how we would do this is we would say, okay, how many times does 12 go into 17? It goes in one time. So we would take 1 times 12 and put the 12 down here, but then we would subtract that 12. So we change that sign of the 12. So we take 17 minus 12, which gives us 5, and then we bring this 5 down here, and now we have 55. We say, how many times does 12 go into 55? 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48. 55 minus 48 is 7. There's nothing else that can go. 12 can't go into 7. So we leave that as our remainder. So really we would write our answer as, we write our answer as 12, and then our remainder is 7. So we would write as 12 and, not 12, but 14. 14 and 7 twelfths, right? Because we've got 14 full things come out of that. And we have 7 left over, 7 of those 12, so 14 and 7 twelfths. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to apply that with polynomials. So we're going to do long division with polynomials. So we have this divided by that. So if you've got the division, this part here is our divisor. That's the part that's on the bottom. That's going to go on the outside. And so we're going to write it like this. The x squared plus 5x plus 1 goes on the outside, and the 2x cubed plus 4x squared minus 2 goes here. But if you'll notice, 2x cubed plus 4x squared plus 0x minus 2, if it's missing one of the powers of x in here, or of the variable, then you got to make sure you put a 0 in there to hold the place for it. Okay? So now we're going to do the same idea over here, just with a little bit extra stuff in there. Okay, so what we want to do first is we're going to say, remember before we said how many times is 12, how many 12s can we get out of 17? We can get 1 out. So how many x squareds can we get out of 2x cubed? Easiest way to do that is just take 2x cubed and divide it by x squared. And what do we get? We've got 2x. So we can get a 2x out of that. So what we want to do is do 2x times x squared, and guess what we get? 2x cubed. Because if you'll remember, we got that 1 times 12 gave us 12, but we're going to have to end up subtracting this at the end, but we'll wait here for just a second to switch all the signs at once. We take 2x times 5x, which is 10x, and 10x squared. I'm not going to put the plus in there because we're going to switch all the signs. And then 2x times 1 is 2x. Now remember, we're subtracting all of this, so we're going to switch all of these signs here and then add them together. These two, the first one should always drop out, right? Just like what we did over here. The 17 minus 12, well, they didn't all drop out because we had 5 left over, but that's what these pieces over here are for. 4x squared minus 10x is negative 6x squared. And then 0x minus 2x is minus 2x. And then we're going to bring our negative 2 down there, right? And then now we do the same thing. We say, okay, we're going to now take our 6x squared and divide it by x squared, and we get 6 left. So we got 2x plus 6. And we take 6 times x squared is 6x squared. 6 times 5x is 30x. And then 6 times 1 is 6. Now remember, we're going to subtract all these things, so we have to change all of the signs. Oops, let's see. Oh, this is supposed to be negative 6x because this was negative 6x here as well. So apologize. So these would actually, so since this is negative 6 right here, let me fix that. All right, let's see. So that's negative 6. So this negative 6 times x squared is negative 6x squared. So these would all be negative, but then we end up having to subtract all those. So we are going to have to switch all the signs. Now these two are going to drop out. That was kind of a big clue, is that I messed something up, because we could tell that these two, when we add them together, did not equal 0, which they always have to be. Negative 2x plus 30x is 28x, and then negative 2 plus 6 is plus 4. There's nothing else to bring down with that. So that's our remainder, or we would just write this as 2x minus 6, and then we could say plus 28x plus 4 all over x squared plus 5x plus 1, which is not pretty looking, but that's that's what we end up getting. Okay, we're going to practice a couple more, but before we do that, let's take a quick comedy break.
The juice aisle, and that is, I don't know what's going on with cranberries, but they're getting in all the other juices. Whoever the salesman is for cranberries does a great job. He's showing up everywhere. Hey, what do you got, apples? Put some cranberries in them. We'll call it cran apple, go 50-50. What do you got, grapes? How about cran grape? What do you got, mangoes? Cran mango. What do you got, pork chops? Cran chops. Why don't you back off, cran man? Why don't you take your sales trophy and have a vacation? He's working too hard. He's making the other fruit guys feel bad, you know? Like the banana guy wakes up, man, I ain't into nothing. Cram man's all coupled up. You gotta get cracking, banana man. You gotta get on a stick.
Okay. Let's look at a few examples, and then we'll call that good. Okay, so we've got these two here. So we're really just going to go over a couple more examples doing exactly what we just did. Yeah, so a good idea might be to try this out on your own, and then, so push pause, try this on your own, see what you come up with, and then check at the end. Okay, so x squared is coming out front here, so that's x squared plus 2x minus 3, and then underneath here is going to be 4x cubed. We got to see if there's any missing ones. X cubed, x squared, x the first 15, we're good. Minus 19 x squared. We were just looking to see if there's any missing x's there. Third power, second power, first power, 0. Okay, so plus 28x minus 15. Super important to double check to make sure that you wrote everything down right, because I didn't on the last example. Okay, now we're going to take x squared and take 4x cubed, divide it by that x squared, and we get 4x. So our first piece here is 4x, right? So 4x times x squared is 4x cubed, which is what we want. We want them to match because we're going to end up subtracting them here. 4x times 2x is 8x squared, right? And then 4x times 3 is negative 12x, okay? Now, I shouldn't have put that plus there. I should have just left it blank, because then we're going to go through and change all the signs here. Negative, negative, and that's going to turn to positive. Those go cancel each other out. This is going to give us what? Negative 27x squared. And that's 28, 38, 40 plus 40x. And we're going to drop the negative 15 down here and do this one more time and see what we get. So we're going to take the x squared and put that underneath the 27, the first part right here, 27x squared. So 27x squared over x squared gives us negative 27. So it's going to be 4x minus 27. So 27 times x squared, negative 27 times x squared is negative 27x squared. Negative 27 times 2 is negative, what's that going to give us, 54x. And then negative 27 times negative 3 is positive 81. And now we got to change all the signs, right? And then add these together, because those will drop out. That gives us 94x, and then that's 81, 91, 96, minus 96. And we have nothing left to drop down over here, so that's going to be our remainder, right? So we end up having 4x minus 27, and then we have 94x minus 96 all over x squared plus 2x minus 3. Okay, and that's our Not pretty, but doable solution. Okay, last one here. 3x plus 3 is going to go on the outside here. 3x plus 3. And then we've got 3x cubed minus 3x minus 10 here on the inside. So remember the first thing, we always take the first thing on the inside here, 3x cubed, divided by the first term out here, 3x, and that gives us x squared. So we've got x squared here. X squared times 3x is 3x squared. Oh, look, I already messed something up. Look, we have x cubed, no x squared, so we got to put our x squared in here. Oops. Okay, glad we caught that early enough. So plus 0x squared minus 3x minus 10. Now we're in business. Okay, x squared times 3x is 3x cubed. X squared times 3 is 3x squared. We want to switch the signs here, right? Because those will cancel out. 0x squared minus 3x squared is negative 3x squared. Drop this negative 3x down, and then we go again. Take the negative 3x squared. We're going to divide by the 3x, and we get negative x. So we got x squared minus x. Negative x times 3x is negative 3x squared. Negative x times 3 is minus 3x. But we got to switch both signs, right? Plus and plus. And then look, those cancel out, and these also happen to cancel out. So we get 0 minus 10. So we get x squared minus x, right? And we do, you can officially do 0 divided by 3x, and we get 0. So plus 0. So that means we've got all that, and then there's our remainder, right? So we get x squared minus x plus 0, which we'll just leave off, plus, or I guess we could put minus 10. I guess we could put plus the negative 10 over 3x plus 3 as our remainder piece there. Okay? All right, that's all we have for dividing polynomials. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask in class. Thanks.